Now we're ready to set up preferences in the Flipside view of our app, My World. As you recall, we were talking about setting up preferences not just in the Settings app, but also from inside the app, and in this case, on the Flipside view. Now, as you recall, the Flipside view nib file, which I have selected here, the file owner for this nib file is Flipside view controller, as you can see here in the identity pane. So when we add interface objects to the Flipside view nib file, we will be also adding code to Flipside view controller. The interface objects we'll be adding are the text entry field for the replacement of the words of wisdom text for falling words, and the replacement value slider for speed, and the slider text label to display the speed setting. But first, we're going to put outlets in the code in Flipside view controller. And these outlets will connect these methods that we're going to write to these interface builder objects that we're going to put in. The fact that a connection between an object and its outlets exists is actually stored in the nib file. So as you recall, the done button here, if we control click it, we see that it's set to the done method in the file's owner. And the file owner is Flipside view controller. So there's a done method in there, and we're going to put other methods in there. And when the nib file is loaded, each connection is reconstituted and reestablished. And this enables you to send messages to the object. IB outlet is the keyword that we're going to use to tag an instance variable declaration. And that's so that the interface builder knows that a particular instance variable is an outlet. And that's what enables a connection to your code in Flipside view controller.m. And in our code, it turns out that we need to create 3 outlets. One to point to the text entry field, one to point to the speed slider's label text, and one to point to the speed slider itself. To get the outlet business started first, we need to declare each outlet, which we do with the help of the IB outlet keyword, which we're going to type into Flipside view controller.h. First, we add a delegate for the text field, UI text field delegate. And we might as well hit return because we're going to put a block of code in here. We're going to start with an NS string, words of wisdom, and an IB outlet for the text field called the text field. We're going to declare a slider value. We're going to do an IB outlet with a UI slider called slider. And finally, one more IB outlet for the label that we're going to put on top of the slider called slider text. Now that we've added our IB outlet statements, we're going to add our property statements. We've already got one here for the Flipside view controller delegate. We'll add a few more before the end statement here. One is @property, non-atomic, assign, NS string, words of wisdom, and another @property declaration, also non-atomic, assign, for the UI slider called slider. We're also going to add another IB action declaration, and this one's for slider changed. Now, as you recall, we've done property declarations before, and of course, we're going to have to do the corresponding synthesized statements. But first, let's look at these. The IB outlet statements declare the outlets, which will automatically be initialized with a pointer to the UI text field, the text field. And the UI slider and the UI label will also be declared and initialized with the pointers. But while this will happen automatically, it won't automatically happen automatically. You have to help it out a bit with the synthesized statements. Now, although the property declaration tells the compiler that accessor methods are available, they still have to be created. Unfortunately, Objective-C can create these accessor methods for you whenever you include an @synthesize statement. So we're going to go into Flipside view controller.m, and we already have a synthesize statement for the delegate, and we'll add the synthesize statement. We can put both of them on the same statement, words of wisdom and slider. Now you notice we have a warning here. Let's see what it is. Incomplete. Yes, that's correct. We're going to move on and add methods for the interface objects in Flipside view controller.